Okay, so what we're asking you to do is to create a melody in which the color of the melody, the timbre of the melody changes with every single new note. Now, you could, let's say over here I had a bunch of controls that control the timbre of these notes. I could play a note and, well, probably I'd want to come over here, tweak some controls, and then play the next note so that it was a new color. Obviously, that'd be incredibly cumbersome. So instead, what we want to do is find a way that, assuming we have a bunch of presets stored over here, so different colors that are set as presets, we would then want to find some way that the melody that plays can automatically advance through those different presets so that each new note has a new color. So what would that look like? Well, one option would be to use the counter object. So type N and then counter. Now, the value that's coming out of here is a MIDI value, but it also essentially functions just like a bang. So basically, the counter is created such that anytime it receives a bang in its left inlet, it counts up by one value. There are more options, but they're not relevant right now. We don't need to worry about them. So I'm going to reset to 0. Now, why is this useful? Well, it's useful because of what's known as the preset object. And the preset object allows you to essentially store a number of different presets in these little boxes that have numbers and recall them so that you don't have to adjust every last little knob while you're working. You can just make a bunch of different presets and recall all of those states together with a single value. So I'm going to use that in a different patch for a second just to show you what I mean. So let's say I have a whole bunch of different integer objects, and these are controlling maybe frequency of some additive synthesis, maybe various parameters for frequency modulation. Don't have to be attached or anything, just there. So I've locked my patch. I'm going to set a bunch of these to different values. Okay, let's have them all set to different values. Now I'm going to click Shift and then the first preset. Okay, now I've let go of Shift and now I'm going to do a whole bunch of other values. Click Shift and click number 2. A whole bunch of other values. And now I'm going to Shift and 3. Okay, so now I'm going to just click 1, 2, and 3. And you'll notice that it's changing all of the different objects in the patch, which is great. It's amazing because what that means is that I don't have to necessarily click these. I could also use, for instance, an integer box and say type 1, and the 1 is sent, and now I've got all of my first presets, 2, and I've got all my second presets, 3, and so on. Now, this is excellent, except for you may find that there are situations, which we will see shortly, where you don't want the preset object to control every single object that is available. And you only want it to control some subset of objects. So in order for that to work, you need to use this third outlet here, which says connect to objects to exclude from a preset. So say I do that, and let's put this down there. Now, let's say everything else, we're going to just type to 0, and we're going to set all of these zeros into preset 4. Now, I'm going to set this one actually to 0. Type shift 4, and now I'm going to go to the second preset, and I'm going to click on the fourth preset and watch this box, this integer box, see what happens. It was excluded. It didn't actually change, and that's going to be very important. You'll see, because we are going to be using this preset box in this patch we made a minute ago, and we don't want the preset box to control the keyboard. We want to keep those separate.